Hey there, smartphone fans. Are you looking for that closest looking iPhone X really cheap phone? Well, I got a review of one today. Welcome to my Oukitel U18 honest hands-on review. Is the notch good on a budget Android phone? So there you have it. Oukitel have brought the notch to the 5.85-inch display here, and it's a real in-cell IPS touch, a really great display, and the notch really gives you that much more screen to body ratio, and it's something incredible to have on a sub $200 budget phone. It means you can take a look at your social medias, your websites on a full screen without wasting any space, and still look at your clock, LTE and battery life stats while doing so. So yeah, this is exactly like the iPhone X but below $200. However, the only minus really on Android is that YouTube really can't expand to that full 18:9 screen, or it's not meant to do so yet. I've heard it's Google have actually implementing this feature because there's a lot of notch phones coming, so I think this feature will be supported pretty soon. Yes, most of the attention is on the front, but the back is really cool as well. I'm taking like an inspirational hint from the Mate 10 with that stripe, and actually the phone's back is made of metal bricks, really nice, and it's really nice metal. Something you would find in like Xiaomi's Redmi Note 4 and Redmi Note 5 series with a fingerprint scanner on the back. And it also has a 4000 mAh battery like the Redmi Note series, but that doesn't make it the thinnest nor the lightest phone I've ever used, but it still wasn't all that thick and it wasn't all that heavy as well. And in the pack you get a lot of goodies like USB Type-C cable, 3.5mm headphone jack to USB Type-C converter, a silicone case, a charger, and of course the phone itself. Now this phone does not come with a headphone jack, so you have to listen to audio through the USB Type-C port with the converter. As far as specs goes, it's a really decent spec device, giving you 4GB of RAM and 64GB of onboard storage with Android 7.0 Nougat. At below $200 is something that most companies really don't offer, especially outside China. The phone's UI is really simple and it's basically stock Android with a few like additional icon sets or something, and it's pretty bloatware free. The notch here, you can't swipe up from the center, you can only swipe down for the notification and toggle shades from the left and right notches of the display. The phone does come with all the Google services pre-installed, but now let's take a more close look at the specs of the hardware. Well, everything looks real and decent, like 4000 mAh battery, 4GB of RAM, 64GB of onboard storage, and a pretty nice Sony IMX camera, which was the flagship sensor 4 or 5 years ago. The phone is powered by the MT6750T octa-core chip, which is famous for all the wrong reasons, like a bit more overheating and not really great battery life consumption. So in general, the battery life here will last you a day and a half, maybe two the most. The phone does come with LTE band support, 4G and voice over LTE, and this supports all the LTE bands in Europe, Asia, but it's limited to support in the United States and Canada, so do check if your operator supports these bands. The GPS on the device was quick, accurate, and was really nice and pleasing to use as a navigation outside on my car. The phone's Android 7 Nougat team is a multi-language ROM, which means supports a lot of languages. So this is a very good phone to import if you're looking for user interface to support your language. And the rear fingerprint scanner can also be used to navigate the phone, which is the way it's actually meant to be used. You can tap it once to go back or hold to view your recent tasks or return to home. And I find that way of using the device really pleasant and really helps with navigation. The display size for me is just about perfect. It's not too big, it's not too small. It definitely feels very right in my hands, and I wish more Android phones would like adopt this 5.85-inch size feature, since the 5.7-inch really looks too small for some people, but the 6 inches looks too big. The phone's actual performance, well, the general performance of the Oukitel U18 was actually very decent. The animations were fluid, opening, closing social apps was just as good as any like all the iPhone, like the iPhone 5S and iPhone 6, so it really has a lot going on here. The MTK6750 chip inside is not the best when it comes to battery life consumption, as I mentioned, but it's still a really solid daily driver. And Oukitel have really done great optimizations with the RAM management, and all of the 4GB of RAM are used here, so you can definitely sideload like 20-30 apps in the background and switch between them without having the phone reload any of them. And in general, the multitasking of this device was pretty smooth and solid, as well as the split screen multitasking feature, which is not available in the iPhone X, but you have it here on a $200 budget phone from China. And it's really cool. You can open like YouTube and still view your social media, browse to websites, and this is actually what the big display is all about. Take notes, Apple, please. So, gaming performance of the Oukitel U18. Do not expect this phone to be like an absolutely massive gaming powerhouse, but it can still run the latest 3D titles, but you have to lower the graphical settings a little bit. Here's me playing World War Heroes, which is a heavy 3D graphics online FPS for Android, and it's running it pretty decently on low settings here. The phone is not a great continuous gaming device, as it does get a bit hot, but it's still good for like 15-20 minutes gaming sessions, and it won't waste much battery life this way. And now on to the cameras. The Oukitel U18's Sony IMX135 is still a very decent camera sensor. It was a flagship sensor that was used in the LG G2, G3 and the LG Flex 2, and it's starting to really show its age. But what it really does better than a lot of cheap Chinese phones is color reproduction and very fast shutter speed, as well as kind of a phase detection autofocus, because it snaps moving objects really well. In general, if you're not like hung like a camera enthusiast, which I don't really think you are, because you're looking at this really budget price phone here, the camera will absolutely be satisfying for you in good, even in some low light situations, but you have to like stomach a little bit more noise than usual. Sure, it's definitely not the best camera phone at this price range, but it's still a decent camera sensor. The video quality is Full HD, it doesn't have optical stabilization, but as I said, it's still okay to use in good lighting conditions. The front camera experience, however, was below par, as I was struggling to get a good shot in like almost any conditions really. And now it's time for my final verdict on the Oukitel U18, so you better watch carefully. So the Oukitel U18, my final verdict on this phone is, if you're definitely looking for that iPhone X notch and you want to spend as little as possible and you really don't care about like 3D graphics, performance and cameras, the Oukitel U18 will be a pretty satisfying phone for you. However, if you're looking for the best specs, if you're looking for the best battery life and best cameras at this price range, the Oukitel U18 is definitely not the phone you want to buy. So this has been it for my Oukitel U18 review. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe to my channel for more honest hands-on reviews like this. And I do urge you to check out my new Phone Tech Talk series, when I talk you through the world of mobile technologies. This has been Steve Fox, peace out.